Mike Sudderth is with us at the news desk. Hello, sir.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. Well, Easy G is here as well.
I got a question. How long have you known Amanda McCarthy?
I would say probably 3-4 years since I've kind of been beating the pavement out here playing guitar myself. I've noticed her out. The former Panucci's is where I kind of took notice of her and noticed that she has her ducks in a row, if you will. We can't say the other. She knows what she's doing, and she's got an amazing voice, and she's calm as, she's so calm when she plays. And
yes.
Normally musicians who, all musicians are self-conscious to some extent. And when I saw her play, I'm like, wow, she's relaxed. She's good at what she does, and she feels good doing it, and you can tell. And people can normally feel that, right? If you you see a musician who is a nervous wreck, you can say, oh gosh, just relax, and everybody will enjoy it a heck of a lot more if we know you're relaxed. And when I saw her play, I knew she was relaxed, and she's a heck of a talent.
Yeah, I saw her play over the old Panucci's, the 603 Bar and Grill, for 4 hours. It was like a homecoming. Everybody there loved their music, and that Project Cream was taking all the photos, and I felt like she was very loved that night. Yeah, by everybody there.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you missed it, Amanda McCarthy and Tom Shubsta, they were here during the first hour along with Easy G, and of course the archive will be up later on the website, mattconnerton.com, so you'll be able to get that. Always nice to see Amanda. I've interviewed her many times over the years, actually.
Yeah, I'm glad she's coming back for one night only. I'll see if I can make that show, as long as it's not in Boston.
October, I think she said, right?
October 17th, I think.
Yeah.
And Easy G, you took some pictures. I look forward to you distributing those, and what platform you do.
Facebook.
Facebook? Okay.
Yeah, I'll send it to you later. Yeah.
Yeah, please do, and we'll get those out there. Great to see those guys.
Outstanding. Yes, I actually saw. By the way, I had never. I don't know if the cameras picked it up for people watching online. I'd never seen Eric embrace someone before, and the hug that Eric gave Tom was the most awkward hug I've ever seen in my entire life.
I always refer to it as the TV hug.
I wish I had a picture of it.
Maybe Tom will call back into the show and explain that to us.
I don't try to hug anybody anymore since the pandemic. If somebody else goes, I'm vaxxed. If somebody else goes in for a hug, I'm fine with it. But I haven't initiated a hug, outside of my household for at least a year.
Yeah.
Hasn't that translated into like the handshake and the fist bump too? I know when Gonzo was here, it was last week. He gave me a fist bump, and then when he left, I like to shake hands, but I try not to think too much about it, and it made it awkward, like it was a half fist bump, half shake. And
I prefer the fist bump. I have shook on maybe 2 hands this year, but I find it awkward because I didn't do it for so long. But I do prefer this better.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I'm used to it. I've played in a lot of like metal bands where that's just what you do. You do the fist bump.
Oh my God,
it's very masculine. The fist bump,
Yeah. The bro hug is different.
Yes.
I can remember when I first met Amanda McCarthy. She really didn't want anybody to she was just a little bit nervous at the beginning, and I think I might have told her a while back that I said, "Boy, you should let people know who you are." She goes, "Oh yeah, it's probably a good idea." And now look at her now.
Look at her now. She owes it all to you. You're her biggest promoter.
I do try.
Yes, you do.
I was going to ask that a lot of questions, but it's only so much time. But
yes.
I was going to ask her if anybody in Nashville hears me give her a date, and that's why they showed up. Yes. I'm thinking that's a long shot, though.
Well, let me. I want to get to Mike's segment, but let me get the.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Enough about me.
No worries.
I try to talk about economics and the fun side of stuff. So the first thing I'd like to say is, I do want to bring up, thank you, Amanda McCarthy and Tom, for being here. I hadn't seen them and didn't expect it. Easy G gave me a message today. I was dozing off at work this afternoon. And I was dozing off at work this afternoon, and I got a message from Easy G. It said, "Hey, Mike, Amanda and Tom are going to be here. Could you be here at 4?" And I said, "Yes, I can." So I dashed home and took a quick shower and got myself here, changed out of my... my outfit, the uniform, as they say. I do not have a uniform with my name on it, but I'm supposed to have it. But anyway,
well,
you look at the people that just see Amanda and Tom. They say, well, you really can't make it the singing or drumming, but if you're really good at it, you get your gigs out there and you get your name out there.
Yeah, they
work hard.
They are making it.
You can make a lot of money in the business.
Yeah,
and you write songs for people, and that every time they sell a CD or record, you get a little percentage of that, and that's how you really can make money.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I was
so kudos to them. Wow.
I was really happy to hear her say, you know, I'm doing this full time. You know,
Tom too.
I bounced that around in my head like, gosh, I'd really love to be able to do this full time. I will be honest with everybody in the room and outside of the room that I don't make enough money to, you know, pay all the bills that land in my mailbox every month by doing my little Grant Lampton thing here and there, or even the Mike Sudderth thing over there, or whatever. But the fact that she was able to support herself and Tom is as well. Are they together, by the way? I don't know if this is the platform to talk about.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we actually did talk about that because
Amanda's got I think she's a 6 or 7 year old daughter, so that's
okay,
her number one job right there.
Okay. Well, I don't know her that well then, but
I haven't seen her daughter in years.
If they're able to keep the lights on and pay the dish TV bill or whatever, or the T-Mobile bill by playing music, that's pretty incredible stuff to me. You know, I'd always treat it as a hobby, and I get some good pocket money out of it and a couple of free beers here and there. But I can tell you that I wouldn't be able to keep Wells Fargo's mortgage payment satisfied by playing once a week.
I was very happy to hear that Tom had 44 gigs last month. It's like, wow, that's like every day of the week he was gigging.
That's cool.
And that's how you make the money.
It was interesting that she said that the paying gigs are covers, at least at this point for her. She's a legitimate singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
So I think at some point, and she's a young person, you know, maybe when she's my age, she'll be able to fly doing this, singing originals. But, you know, I that really resonated with me because I have a pocket full of originals. I almost think people would not want to hear them, and I don't play them very often, so people don't hear them. I play a lot of covers. And I get paid decently for playing covers, but you know, you have to be able to play those covers and play the originals. And once you get into the singer-songwriting thing, like you said, getting royalties, I guess is what you call it, is where the big money comes in. But that gap in between is ginormous.
I've known bands, and I've been in a lot of bands. I've never been in a cover band, but I've known a lot of bands, and I'm sure you have too, that will actually play under two different names, where, you know, they have one name for the band when they go out and play shows where they get to do original music, and then they use a different name for when they play the cover shows where they actually get paid.
Yep.
Because, you know, when you're in a band and you're, you know, like I've been in metal bands where it's like, you know, there was no, you know, it was a lot of free shows, you know.
Yeah. And pay to play. Do you remember those?
Yeah,
like you had to sell tickets at the beach.
Vividly, I never did that. But
I remember when Amanda posted this a couple of years ago now, and next time she's in the house, I'll bring this up. She says, "I don't really want to be famous anymore. I just want to be happy."
Yeah, well, of course.
Yep. So that really resonated to me.
Well, that's what we all want, is to be happy.
Not everybody does that, though. Not everybody does that, though.
What, is happy?
Right. They just work at their job. My job sucks. You know, my life sucks, and they're just so negative all the time, and you don't really see that from her.
Right.
She puts out maybe a personal life. Sometimes she has issues, but her personality is always happy.
Yes.
I will tell you the most money that I ever made, and it was in a band, and we were a cover band. We were a Grateful Dead cover band. If anybody remembers the Elastic Waistband, we played one gig. They paid us $1,000, dude. Of course, there were 6 of us.
Yeah.
And it took us, you know, it took us 6 hours to set up all the equipment and the Leslie rotating speakers and everything and all this. And everybody went home with, you know, $100 or something.
Yeah.
But they paid us big money, but we didn't go in there and say, well, I wrote this about my girlfriend who broke my heart. We got up there and played Jerry Garcia's songs and, you know, riding that train, blah, blah, blah. People wanted to hear that, and the club owner was able to sell $10 at the door and all that. So that's where the money came from. You know, what I do now, I don't advertise that I play covers, although that's about 85% of what I do. But I'll remember until I get that $1,000 paycheck again. I'll remember the most money I ever made was singing somebody else's music, for sure.
Yeah. I was very happy to hear that. She says, well, that lady that helps me out, you know, in case we send gigs, she wants 10%. We go, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of artists would say that. So it tells me she's doing very well.
Well, I mean,
10% is a lot. It's a good chunk of money.
Well, actually, I mean, most booking agents charge 15, so she's...
Oh, I don't know. I don't know anything about the business as far as behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Oh, you know more than I do.
Yes.
So 15 is usually the number they're looking at?
Yeah. So 10 is low.
Okay.
10 is low.
Yeah, 10 is low. I know Paul Costley, who Miss Amanda had mentioned, is in the 15% range.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was one of the guys very early on that I knew. He made a living as a booking agent, you know.
Yeah.
And he was also a heck of a drummer, you know. If
Yeah.
you ever,
Oh, really?
do you remember the Grinning Lizards?
No.
I don't.
That was Paul Costley's band ages and ages ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was with the Grinning Lizards, and then I think he, correct me if I'm wrong out there, Radio Land, but he switched to being an agent.
Yep.
And was able to take 15%, sending other people out to work.
Yep. Not so costly. Is it
Productions,
not? Productions,
Not
yeah.
so costly productions. And,
Yep.
He did do a thing for a while with Nate Comp and some other people.
Oh, yes. Was it Decomp? Is that the name of the project?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Nate Comp's an incredible musician. One of the
Yep.
people that I remember when I first listened to him play, I was walking through a club and I was like, gosh. Like, the guy was really, 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 really talented. And, you know, I see things through a different lens as a musician. You know, my wife at the time was probably like, yeah, he's great. You know, he's got long hair. He's a nice looking guy. And I'm like, no, listen to the way he plays the bass. The guy is somewhat phenomenal.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had played with Paul for a while. It wasn't the Grinning Lizards. It was what you said.
Decomp?
Decomp, I think. Like decomposition.
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of time. Somebody sees her at one of her shows and she'll be signed by somebody. She's that good, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
it's just a matter of time.
But we live in an era where getting signed isn't even necessarily the goal. You know, I mean, you can build a following online, and actually you have to get. See, that's the thing about the music business now. You have to do that anyway to get signed. But if you build a large enough following online, and now it's all about downloads and streams, in addition to selling the live experience, which the pandemic kind of derailed for a while there, but. To even get signed by a label, they want you to already have done the work. There's no such thing as, artist development anymore and all that.
And it's bizarre how quickly it fell apart and turned it into this new, what do they call it? Paradigm, I guess, for lack of a better word. A new MO that, I'm old enough that I grew up. They're like, oh, well, go to Nashville or, we'll go to Chicago and we'll get discovered and something will happen. Now it's, you've got to make something happen and then you'll get noticed.
Right. Right.
And I'm all at sea with that. I really am.
Are you?
Yeah, because I grew up in an era of, well, if I put myself out there, somebody's going to notice me.
Yeah.
And they'll take care of the rest. I'm a musician. So now it's, you've got to be a business person, an IT freak, and you've got to have your fingers in a lot of pots where it's just not like, I heard this person sing and we're going to make money off them.
Right.
She does all the social media by herself.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a big part of her success.
Oh God.
Is understanding social media. And
did you ever tell Mike Sudderth that story about how to get successful in doing a podcast?
What story?
The guy there, he had a famous name and he already had it.
Oh,
yeah.
Adam Carolla?
Yeah, you ever tell Mike Sudderth about that?
Oh, I don't think we've talked about that. No.
I don't believe we have.
What Eric is talking about is...
a good story.
Well, Crazy Joe used to call wanting to know how to be successful, how to be famous.
Yep.
I noticed when I mentioned Crazy Joe, you put the clown nose on. Hopefully he's listening. But
or watching.
Yes, or watching and watching. But yeah, Joe asked me once, how do you be successful as a podcaster? How do you get famous? And I'm like, well, first of all, if I knew the answer to that, and if it was that simple, I would be famous.
And you wouldn't tell him.
Right, and I wouldn't tell him. That's
of course
true.
not.
That's true. But what Eric is referring to is I read, this was years ago when Adam Carolla, and he's still very successful with his podcast,
yes,
The Adam Carolla Show. But Adam Carolla was the first guy to leave radio and go into strictly podcasting and to reach 1 million downloads and be very successful and to prove that you could actually be successful strictly online as a podcaster without being on FM radio. And somebody asked Adam Carolla in an interview once, because now there's so many podcasts, but even then, because he was the #1 guy at the time. Now it's clearly Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is the #1 guy. But Carolla is probably still in the top 10 as far as podcasts. But somebody asked him in an interview, what's the secret? How do you have a successful podcast? And his answer was, already be famous.
Yes.
Because if you're already famous, you're going to have an audience. If you're not already famous, it's going to be a long, slow grind.
Of course.
You know, and that's what I tried to tell Crazy Joe. Of course, Crazy Joe didn't get it.
He's crazy.
He's crazy, yeah. But
I mean, to be famous, and I mean, I don't know if they're two different things. Where does the income stream come from? Is it advertising sales?
Yes, basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and plus, you know, if you have a successful YouTube channel, you monetize the YouTube channel, so then you get money via YouTube, which is actually how a lot of these guys do it. We have the windows open here, everybody. It's a hot day, but it's very humid. But yeah, it's hard, you know. But the thing is, with the music industry, it's I think it's easier in some ways now and harder in others. It's easier in the sense that if you are savvy enough about social media, or you know people who are, or you can hire people who are, and other ways of marketing online, it's a more level playing field in a sense, because you don't have to have a record company, and that's what I was saying earlier. You don't have to have a record company show up with the big contract, you know, that $1 million deal. Of course, you end up having to pay a lot of that back through recoupment anyway. That's a whole other discussion. But
yes.
You don't necessarily need that. You can actually, I mean, you know, there's people who've gone viral with their music without any help. They've just been able to do it on their own, and that exists now, whereas that didn't exist before. So it's easier in that sense. It's a more of a level playing field in a certain regard. On the other hand, it's harder in the sense that, like Dirk Don from Arrogant Media, he says this about podcasting, but it applies to the music industry as well. He says when you start a new podcast, it's like peeing in an ocean of pee.
Yeah.
Because there's already so much content.
Oh, man.
And it's the same thing with the music industry. You know, yes, you might go viral with your music without the help of a company, a music label or some other company. You might, but you're competing with, not only are you now competing with all the other music that's out there,
yes,
you're competing with, you know, a YouTube video of adorable kittens, or, you know, or whatever else is out there that
yes,
people might be paying attention to. Your competition literally is the entire rest of the internet.
Yeah. And that's, you know, that's ginormous. You know, it's and it's frustrating. You know, to use my silly little self as an example, you know, where do I begin to start? It took me a year to get together a bio and something to send. So if you say, hey, my brother owns a bar in Connecticut, can you send him something? Mm-hmm. It took me a long time to just get my head around that.
Yeah.
I was just used to, hey, my brother owns a bar in Connecticut. Can you play Saturday? Yeah, I'm happy to. I'll go down and play. But to actually cultivate business, you know, do the marketing side of it. Mm-hmm. And my undergrad's in marketing, and I said, well, what do? Do I put together a cassette, a mixtape? Yeah, I'm 55, so I did mixtapes. Like, yeah, well, we'll put together a tape. Send them a tape and a 8x10 glossy black and white picture. You know.
Yeah.
And now it's, you know, do you have content?
It's all digital.
They've got stuff now, and you have to pay for it. Like dear Amanda, who said she had to pay $300 to get her own .com name.
Yeah.
I'm looking at something now that it's a business card. And you send somebody a business card, and they swipe it on their phone.
Yep.
And it has 3 songs on it, a couple of pictures of you, and a bio.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I bet she has that. I bet.
Yeah, I'm sure she does. Probably.
I was like,
yeah. I
okay,
know.
well, I guess I should get them. So I looked into it, and they're like, all right, so for $300, you can get 60 of them.
Yeah.
So that seemed real pricey to me. And I don't like the pay-to-play thing, but if that's what it is, but I'm underneath my feet is so squishy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, do I invest in this, and do I send out these 60 cards for $300 and people are like, great, or do they say, oh, a nice business card and throw it in the trash, or do they swipe it on their phone? It's a real leap of faith. But the platform's there, man.
It is, yeah.
If somebody's expecting that and wants that, you gotta have it in hand.
I wish we had more time, because this is a great conversation, but we're out of time.
Oh, no, already?
Mike Sudderth, thank you so much.
You're very welcome, man. I appreciate being here.
You'll be Friday night at the Hop Knot as
Friday
Grant
night,
Lampton?
I will be right across the street, as I can see it, playing for Kenny and Jesse and his girlfriend Morgan, who has replaced Trudy in the kitchen, and they're all great people and super nice.
Trudy's
to me.
not there no more?
That's my understanding, yes. She has moved on to other things.
Oh, wow.
Is my understanding.
She's
Although
still part of that commercial.
She is.
Yes,
you can
yes.
still hear her sweet
She always
voice.
live in the commercial.
That's right.
She'll always
Oh,
live
sorry
in
to hear
the
that.
commercial.
Wow.
That's right.
Breaking news.
Easy G, thank you so much.
Yeah, real quick about Amanda.
Real quick.
She posted one time. She goes, "If there's one person or 100,000 people, you need to perform excellent every night.
That's
No
right.
matter who's in the audience."
Treat every show like it's Madison Square Garden.
She is excellent.